All right, well, welcome to our second episode of Don't Waste This. I'm Russell Daniel. This is Patrick Davis. Pat, how are you today?
I'm really good, and I promise to talk into the microphone so we don't have to keep doing this.
So you're not doing this whole
Yeah,
thing like that?
no.
Yeah, that's good.
Talk without your hands.
Well, I really haven't seen you or talked to you since we last recorded last week. So give me an update of where you are, your treatment, how you're feeling, all that.
Okay, so the treatment, we're still at this stage in my cancer where they don't really have a clue what it is. They're thinking it looks like a urothelial, whatever that means, but they do have a treatment that they have now pretty much validated is working. So they're giving me an immunotherapy, 2 weeks on, 1 week off, 2 weeks on, 1 week off.
Okay.
And they mix up the formulas. The formulas are not trivial. They're pretty significant. Immunotherapy, Keytruda, and Padcev. But the good news is that I'm receiving the therapy really well. It's not causing a lot of complexity. It's not causing any illness on my part.
That's good.
You deal with fatigue, and you deal with a little bit of chemo cloud in your brain. But that's fine. There's probably people that would tell me that I needed to shut my brain down a little bit anyway. So
I might be one of those people.
yes, exactly.
So was this a treatment week or an off week?
This was a treatment. This was a treatment week
Okay.
on Monday, and it was my fourth round of Padcev, and it kind of builds up a residual. So this one was noticeable, but very manageable.
So you felt this treatment a little bit more than the past ones. Okay.
Oh yeah, I was. The day of the treatment, I just couldn't get focused on anything, very tired. The day after the treatment, I was struggling just with cognitive, anything long term. So I could watch something on TV and process it, but to think into my computer and provide any work effort, I just had to give up on that early.
Gotcha. So you just kind of blob on the couch all day Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I definitely held the couch down. There was no chance of that couch escaping the living room.
We're glad about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Jen, how's Jen doing? How's she progressing?
She's doing fantastic. So this week is the first week that she is actually driven without any inhibition whatsoever.
That's good.
She, the back is healed to the point where she no longer is using the walker. She's very aware of it. It will, from time to time, if she tries to ignore it, it will say, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah.
Still 3 broken vertebrae. So, but she's healing well. She is going to work now across the parking lot here, and she seems to be very upbeat. Her spirits are up, and
good.
Always when you get to the other side of something like that, there's going to be, if you're looking in the right direction, there's going to be nothing but up.
Good.
Right.
So I'm assuming the biggest barrier for her driving is actually getting off of your road.
Yeah, that road is a kidney jerker. So not a lot to be said for the calmness of that road. Luckily, her little Buick is actually smoother on that road than my truck.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, she just doesn't ride with you, and that's
I
the key.
can count the rocks in my truck. She just kind of buzzes right over it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad she's doing better. I'm glad you're feeling good. I'm glad that treatment seems to be effective.
Yeah.
So let's kind of get into it today. Kind of going to dive a little bit deeper than we did last week, and talking about this whole cancer thing. So first off, were you physically or maybe spiritually even aware that something was off in your body?
Yeah, that's about the clearest I think that you could say it. Something was off. I've been a type 1 diabetic since I was 30. So I've been on pump therapy for probably 15 years now. So with pump therapy, I've got a glucose monitor. So I'm completely into my physiology.
All on your phone. I'm assuming you can look at your
all on an app.
Yeah.
All on my phone. It's basically an artificial pancreas. So
Gotcha.
It tells me what my sugar is. It gives me a bolus of insulin. It helps maintain my blood sugar as a normal person as if you had a functioning pancreas.
And you said type 1, right?
Type 1.
Okay, got it.
Type 1 means I don't make insulin. My pancreas, the cells in the pancreas that make insulin, just for whatever reason got disrupted, died, whatever. So now I use insulin. I use it very well. And I just have to know how to count the carbs I take in and offset it with insulin.
But all that to say, you're very aware of your body. You're very aware of, how you're feeling, if something is off. So that's kind of just a normal part of life that you've adapted to.
Blood work 3 times a year for 30 years. There's no better way to be aware of your markers than treat an illness. Diabetes is a terminal illness. There is no cure for it. But to treat an illness for 30 years, you start to become aware of things that you simply took for granted without that illness.
Right. When did you know that you were diabetic? When did that come up?
That was my 30th birthday present to myself. Yep.
Yeah, you give good gifts there.
Yes, absolutely. I have long-lasting gifts.
Yeah, apparently so. So, all right, so you're aware of this. Fast forward to a few months ago, and what was kind of the indicator for you that, hey, I should get checked out here?
Well, so I've been seeing a urologist since what we said in the previous episode was I've found that I had prostate cancer.
Right.
But it was non-invasive. It was just a lesion, and it was sitting there over and over again. I had a CT scan just to check the measurement of it versus our baseline in February of 25. Come about June, July, I was dealing with SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, and what it is just an advanced heart rate for no good reason. It's just you're sitting there, all of a sudden start racing.
Okay.
So I had an ablation done where they go into your heart live and they shock the cells that are putting out the voltage to make it rev up.
Right.
And after I had that done, I remember them paying a lot of attention to my insulin, my blood sugar levels, and saying that how trauma would that affect that. And I started paying a little more attention. I started kind of feeling things and seeing things that just didn't add up to the norm. And I realized I'd started
such as what?
Well, every once in a while I'd go to the bathroom and I'd see blood in the bottom of the toilet.
Got it.
And I'd had some procedures on my prostate that could explain why from time to time it would bleed, but it wasn't really giving me all the answers. And the people that I was talking to, my urologist, very, very notable urologist, very good practice. They're actually a division of the Texas Oncology, which is where I'm going for my cancer.
Right.
It seemed I seemed to be getting a little more pushback, and so I just kind of sat down and said, "Look, we haven't had an MRI. If insurance can approve it, I think we need to have an MRI." And he agreed, and then that's when we found out that there's a lot more going on than what is representing itself in symptoms to me.
And when did you get those MRI results?
That was in early December.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So it took, almost 5 months from the time you started kind of seeing little things until you were able to get that MRI.
Until I finally just said, we need to schedule an MRI.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I honestly think that logic is a gift and it's a tool and a muscle that you can build in your mind, and you can build your ability to process things very quickly. But your instincts are when God's talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And my instincts were saying, I need this MRI. There's something not right.
Right.
And that's God just saying, hey, I'm just going to level with you. There's something not right here, and you're gonna start feeling like there's something not right here. But until you get past your logic, which gets in the way sometimes, and try and talk yourself out of it, you finally just have to listen. So if there's anything that I would have done differently, I would have, when they did the CT scan in February, I would have said, let's just do an MRI, and let's look at it in detail. Then I would have had an MRI versus an MRI. The CT scan is kind of a light, cheaper version of checking if anything's happening in your body.
Gotcha.
And it's specifically for my prostate area, so it could take measurements and all that, but it wouldn't be nearly as good as an MRI. So my instinct was MRI. I gave into it. I did the CT, and then I gave into just being a little overwhelmed by the ablation. And when your heart races to 165 while you're sitting there watching Fox News, it's not Fox News driving you to 165.
It could be, but probably not.
There's something going on. So now CNN will get me to 165 on Fox News won't. So but the point being is that you've got to listen to the hints and the information that you're being provided, and then you've got to give into what you heard.
So to
what you listen.
Put this in religious language, you would say this is the Holy Spirit talking to you,
yes,
saying,
absolutely.
you need to dive deeper on this.
Right.
What you're hearing, even from the doctors, isn't quite what's going on with your body. Keep pushing back.
Right. And my volume knob on the Holy Spirit was turned down too low.
Yeah.
For me to properly hear it and properly act on it. And as everything started progressing, I started cranking up the volume, and then I heard it loud and clear, and then I just didn't fight it.
Yeah. Now, so that was early December. You get this really terrible initial diagnosis, 3 to 6 months if you don't treat it, maybe 2 years. I mean, you're still fairly young. You're 63, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, you're processing that, and then the next step is, well, you've got to tell Jen, and then you've got to tell your kids.
Yep.
So walk me through how did you – I guess let's do two-part. How did you process this, and then how did you tell them?
Right. So the telling them is kind of the tell into this. But the knowledge that I would be telling them meant that the time for me to process it was real time. Yeah. There wasn't a buffer. There wasn't I can go off into the forest for days and then come back enriched and enlightened and share with everything. No, it was that I heard some life-altering news.
Yeah.
I then studied the life-altering news, so my first instinct was to go in and become more informed, be able to at least understand the vocabulary.
So you could communicate it well.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when I heard the life-altering news, then it was either sit here and roll up into a fetal position and have people asking me, "What? Is something wrong? Is something wrong?" Because the good news about your family when you're around them, and I work with them, is it takes them about a millisecond to know that I'm not telling them something. They know that more than if I told them something that what I was telling them was a little story just to get them going. I like to play with them all the time, and they know I kid around a lot. So I'm more effective kidding around overtly than I am trying to shut down, because they know at that point
he's got something going on.
There's something going on.
Yeah.
And they can pick up on that. So I learned that there's no way to, if you try and hide it, you'll expose it even quicker. So I had to deal with it. I had to be able to say it to myself. I had to be able to say, wow, this is life-altering. It's a terminal cancer. There is no cure. And and when you say it to yourself, even when you repeat the words, you've synapsed that in your head 1,000 times a second. So your head is helping you process this just with the time that the first message came in and where you're at now talking about it. And you will find that your feelings change dynamically as this goes. You always have the shock effect of finding out about it.
Right.
Then you go online and you Google your health and it tells you no good news.
Yeah, it's all bad.
Yeah, it's all bad. It's all bad. So, but then you start asking, knowing the right questions to ask, and you start seeing some more information, and it's good. But you're also surrounded with relatives that the minute they find out, are going to go online.
So
So I wanted to know what was online. If I put this in search, what are they? It's no longer how I'm going to tell them and how they're going to receive it, but it's minute I leave the door and leave the room, what are they going to do, and how can I prepare them for what they're going to see? Because I'm literally going to be 5 minutes away from their house, and I'm getting a call going, "Did you look this up? It's horrible." And so
especially your daughter, I'm assuming.
Yes. And I didn't want that to be the nature of it. So it kind of had to be a little bit of a shock factor where you tell them the truth about what has been found. You tell them the range of possibilities around that without taking hope out of it.
Right.
And without taking faith and prayer out of it. But the reality is, you've got something that unless anything else happens to you, this is what you're going to die from.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you kind of call the family together, or was this you guys live next door to each other.
Right.
I know Hudson's in Houston, but Ashley and Tiago are right there. How did you go about breaking the news to everybody?
They were all guinea pigs. It was just a big experiment. So I said, okay, who can I tell the first? Well, that was telling my wife, obviously, and seeing her reaction, and then retooling for Ashley, then retooling for best friends, and then retooling for my son. So what I was essentially doing is just this ongoing experiment of what's the best way to communicate this in such a way that I leave hope behind, I leave faith intact, and there is really no place in the discussion for fear. And that's not easy to do. and I failed. I didn't do a really good job with my wife, but she's a tough little farm girl, and I know she can handle a lot. And I lean on her. She has the
Did she have an inkling that something was going on and that you were probably gonna have a not good diagnosis?
Yes.
Okay.
I had prepared her that there is something going on. This will find something, and it probably won't be pleasant.
Gotcha.
And that's where we,
Had you pre-warned your kids that, hey, I'm doing these tests, something might be off, or?
I didn't, and I asked myself why I didn't. And I think it was we're now in the dawn of how to deal with this situation, and we took for granted a lot.
Gotcha.
And so I never really thought about how do you tell your kids that you've got something that could end your life, but how do you tell them in a way that it doesn't make them shut down? I wanted it to fuel their curiosity, not their concern.
Right.
And with Ashley, it 100% fueled her curiosity. She can write a paper on cancer.
Yeah, I bet she can.
Yeah.
She's brilliant, just to start with, and then
absolutely.
give her some ammunition, she'll get after it. So, all right, you've got this terrible news. I mean, when you called me, it felt like literally no hope.
Yeah.
And but still very upbeat, very positive.
Yeah.
But obviously, changes had to be made in your life.
Right.
And you kind of had unpacked some of those in our conversation. So just for our viewers, tell us how did that alter your life, your goals, like what's important to you,
right.
what changed?
We're kind of in witness of life all around us, and it's coming at us from different angles. You can see versions of life on the internet. You can see it in movies. You can see it in films. And what you have to do is I think the best thing you can do is kind of insulate yourself from all the outside versions of life that seem important, seem relevant, and a lot of people just covet those versions of life.
Yeah.
And really break down your life into what it really is to you right now, and where do you want it to be if you do have an exit ramp that's sooner than what was planned.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to leave this life? Do you want to leave it in anger and frustration that somehow this plan from God was, against me, not for me, or
right.
not for the family?
Right.
So I think you just have to make a decision about everything you say means so much more now.
Yeah.
Because and people now hear you. I can give you example after example where when I would phone or text my kids, depending on what they're doing, I'd get a response, but it may be the next day, maybe hours later. And now I phone or text them, and it's like, boom, everything's
immediate. Yeah.
Right. And that's not an accident. That's their reflection of what they're aware of that I'm
right.
dealing with, and they're taking, understanding the importance of any conversation.
Well, I'm sure every phone call now, they're like, has the news gotten worse?
Yeah.
Like, kind of on edge.
Yeah. And so the only thing you can do when you're sharing this type of stuff with people is let them see, taste, and know that you're not afraid of this outcome. And that's a journey that most people are okay with taking. They don't want to walk into an open horror story and just watch things just go really bad, really quick, and just be a part of that and be helpless in the process. So they've got to know, what's available to them to get educated on it, but they also got to know that there's nothing that they can't talk to you about. That there is no sacred discussion. I mean, I was at the oncologist talking about penile cancer, and my daughter was in the room, and the oncologist looked at her and said, "Are you okay with us talking about this?" And she goes, "I have a farm and I raise penises." Of course, she's referring to her
three little boys.
So he's like, "Okay, so we're good." So it's kind of funny, things that were their perspective you weren't even aware of. That came out. I've never heard her say that before. It cracks me up every time I think about it. But I've never heard her say it. And it's probably the most real discussion about what her life right now is. She's raising penises. Yeah.
That's so funny. All right, so then I love the way that you've approached this, because I feel like most people approach life with their feelings. And so man, I get this terrible diagnosis. Woe is me. God is against me. He's not for me, and can kind of form this terrible little downward vortex. But what you've done is you've done the exact opposite, and you've been able to put your feelings in place and look at this from a very analytical and strategic way that says, okay, if I have X amount of days left, this is what I want to be important. This is what I want people to remember me by. This is what I want my legacy to be. So you've made a lot of changes because of that frame of mind. And so I know, stepped back from the business some.
Yes.
Obviously, you have renewed your commitment in faith. Talk a little bit more. Are there any other major adjustments that you've kind of made since then?
Yeah, I'm now starting to get back into reading the Bible. I've read it once before, but it's really nice to kind of go back into and see how some of those passages really, I've lived through them already. And when I read it once before, I was very young in my life. I was in my early 20s. And so a lot of that was abstract. And so much of the Bible now is having seen society, having dealt with people on a daily basis across the continent.
Yeah.
I've seen the Bible
played out before you.
Played out, yeah. And that's kind of an interesting thing. So now my goal to myself is, if I read one article about medicine, then I read the Bible, an equitable amount, at least.
That's cool.
I have to give it the same billing, where I have to be smart about what I'm doing.
Microphone.
Right. I have to be smart about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I also have to make sure that it's all in the teachings of the gospel, and it's all following God's plan. Because at the end of the day, if you don't accept this one thing, you'll never get past the fear. And that is, this was designed by God.
Yeah.
I didn't build it.
Yeah.
A doctor didn't build it. Society didn't. God built this, and he built this for a reason. He may never reveal his reason directly to me. I'm not worthy of actually him having that conversation with me, but I have an obligation, commitment to him and to all the people around me to follow the path that is important in this new chapter of my life, in which I'm working towards an exit that's going to be a lot sooner than what you had planned, but I'm also open to any miracle or any grace that can be afforded me, so that exit ramp is far enough out to where when I do leave behind, it's left behind in a way that is not harming the people I leave behind.
Well, and honoring to God.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
said as you're reading the Bible that you're making sure that everything that you're doing is in line with it. And it's so I'm curious now. You read it in your early 20s. Now here you are 40 years later. Does it make more sense to you, like specifically like the commandments, like, hey, don't do this, like this should be important in your life? And I mean, do you see a vast difference between you read it then versus now?
Yeah, any commandment or even rule or doctrine that has the word covet in it, somehow I syllabused that out of my first read of the Bible. Didn't quite embrace that as much as I should have. But I think that one word, covet, is so saturated in the society right now.
Yeah.
That's the one word that now means so much more to me than it did then.
Interesting.
And I think that when you go through the reread and what seemed like a story or an abstract, even though you believed, it now seems like a news media clip to me, because there's so much of that I've actually lived through in so many parts of it. So I think that we sin every day, and we make choices that are not the choice that Jesus would have made had he had the same set of circumstances. Being intimately aware of those sins and having more consciousness of the butterfly effect of a sin, something that can be further impact life for others even after you've left this life. Things you do today, and that's a really hard thing to take. Things you do today can impact people forever even after you leave.
Yeah.
So you really got to think them through.
That's a really heavy weight to think about, and I think the fact that you're aware of that is really great, but because I think most of us miss it, and we probably underestimate our influence on other people and the ability to influence them positively or negatively, and we brush it off and go on to whatever the next thing is.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Absolutely, and I think that, I'm excited about the upcoming weeks. I'm excited about sharing the story.
Yeah.
It won't always be good news, but I'm also excited about potentially having other people come on this.
I was going to say, we need to get Jen up here.
Yeah.
Get her and
I
Ashley.
I want to get Jen. I want to get Ashley. I want to get Keith Abloh. I want to get the guy who wrote the entire article around Don't Waste This.
Yeah.
I would love to get him involved. I think, and anybody out there that watches this, if you're going through anything similar to this at all and you're in the middle, please understand there is no formula. There is no recipe for this. And we're sharing with you some of the ways that I'm dealing with it, some of the ways that we're dealing with it, our loved ones are dealing with it. But there are people out there right now that may be watching this that are probably dealing with something even worse than what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And the reality is it could always get worse. And
it can.
So if any of you out there would like to come in and share your story and have a conversation with Russell and I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. For those of you watching, call, email, text, either one of us, and we'd love to have that conversation and have more people be a part of this. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we've rambled on quite a bit here. Any last words? Anything else that you want to talk about before we close her down today?
Valentine's Day is coming up.
It is.
Treat it like it's your last.
Oof.
Treat it like it's your last.
That's good, because I just had a conversation this week about how we hate Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Like, man, we just had Christmas. Now I got to buy another gift. We got to do another, something special. Words of wisdom, huh?
Absolutely. And you know what? The best gift in the world on Valentine's Day is a deed. So find a deed that you can do that will be memorable, and it doesn't have to involve, giving somebody 20 Bitcoins. I mean, Valentine's Day has gotten so commercialized.
It has.
But in actuality, the most important part of Valentine's Day is you're recommitting yourselves to each other on a wonderful day to celebrate it. So
it's good. Words of wisdom for a man who he's earned a lot of gray hairs here. So you know what Proverbs says about the gray hair?
No,
it comes with wisdom. The more gray hair you have, the wiser you are.
What does it mean when it turns gray and falls out?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I have to look that one up.
Maybe am I rejecting wisdom?
We'll figure it out, and we'll answer that for you next week. Awesome. Right. Well, thanks, Pat. Appreciate your time today. And thanks for tuning in and joining us on Don't Waste This. And don't waste your life. Don't waste your Valentine's Day. We'll see you next week.
Take care.